What's up, guys? Welcome to Discussions with Yiangie. I'm John.
And I'm Angie. And today we have another episode full of topics that you guys have requested that we wanted to talk about. So let's get started. This is episode 9, guys. We're almost at 10 episodes, which is crazy.
Yep. So today we're going to be talking about a lot of topics here and there in between how generations have changed throughout the time zones or timeline, I should say, and how do you think your life would be in your own home country, like growing up.
Yeah.
And stuff. How would you deal with the communities and the way of life and the culture and all that stuff? Mm-hmm. What family would you get along with? Your dad's side or your mother's side? Ooh, so stick around and check our answers because you guys are gonna hear some spicy and some
juicy answers.
Yeah, so we might get in trouble for some of the response if family members are hearing this. So, spoiler there. But then that doesn't stop there. We also have our segment
of Am I the A-hole? You guys love these segments. We love reading them. We love reacting to them with you guys. So we have continued the Am I the A-hole segments.
Yeah, guys.
Want to start off on that one?
So I kind of like saw this one and I was like, this is interesting topic because it has been a while since I can say that I was a teenager. It's been literally almost, I would say, over a decade now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, guys, who would have thought before how things have changed from social media to like just like day-to-day tasks, work life, business-wise, family life. Like before dinner time, everybody would go to the dinner. There would be a dinner family section room and or with the kitchen, and everybody would be beside it and eat as a family. Now I feel like generations, you don't really get that.
No, I feel like it's like really a one-off because usually either parents are working, kids are studying, doing homework, so it's like their timelines are kind of off. So you don't really see that as much. There most likely is still families that do that.
Yeah. What do you think has changed? That, like, my question is, do you feel like before parents had like one job was enough? I guess that's what I'm saying. Now that people have to like either way, like like everybody sort of has to, even on like online, people do more than one thing.
Yeah.
Still, so like it's easier, but you're still doing multiple things, right?
Yeah, it's still time consuming.
Yeah.
I feel like, well, I can't say 100% like from my experience growing up.
But you did have your grandma.
I did have my grandma, but she had like 2 or 3 jobs at the time.
Yeah.
So it's not much different as now. I feel like now a lot of people are needing either more time, like overtime, or an additional job, especially with like the rise in these prices after the pandemic.
Yep.
So that's probably something that has changed, unless of course you were in like a single family home where one parent had to provide for both. That's what I feel like has been the most changed, is because of the pandemic and the rise in prices that people have had to work more. Now it might be a little bit easier because there is so much remote work that you can do where you don't have to go out. But it's still, if it's something that you need to, like for example a call center, you need to be in a quiet room away from like your family and stuff like that. So it's not exactly the same, but you're still at home, so you don't have to spend all that time traveling.
Oh yeah. And also, how about the way that like children are raised nowadays? Like before, I think a lot of us growing up would watch TV or we'd be mostly outside. Nowadays, it's like even in a quiet, nice neighborhood, it's like you don't see that a lot of kids are in the park that much. Like, unless they're like really, really young,
Yeah.
then they're with their parents. But as soon as like you don't see anybody like out there too much as you would 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, I feel like most of it is like most of the youth has been kind of overcome by technology, and like a lot of kids now are getting phones when they're like really young. So that kind of distracts from going outside to play as much. And like TikTok are like, I gotta say, TikToks are very time consuming to, if you're just scrolling or if you're doing TikToks, that can kind of also suck you in and take you away from that time of going out for kids.
So what do you, as a mother, as a wife, as an entrepreneur, as a social media person, as a day to day, what would you suggest families out there, mothers, couples, young family like us, anybody out there that would need advice on how to deal with those kind of changes? What suggestions would you make? How to make it a little bit easier for them, and what tips do you have that you use or you remind yourself or you would like to give people?
Well, ultimately, I wouldn't say like I would give anyone suggestions, because each person does what they can for their family and what is like what they're used to. So as like suggestions to change stuff, I wouldn't say you have to change something, If you do want to change it, I mean, for us at least, for me, for Gabriella, if she's on her tablet, I give her like a timeline. Like I schedule when her tablet like turns off and she can no longer play with it. Sometimes, at least like today, she was not on her tablet at all until right now. She's watching TV in our room. So she was, playing with her toys all day. But that's because Gabriella, like, if she has her tablet, that's fine. If she doesn't, that's fine. Each kid is different. I know there's some that would go crazy if they don't have their tablet for at least 5 minutes. But Gabriella, if her tablet dies or something, it just shuts off, she's okay playing with her toys. So I would probably say, if you have like young kids, get them in the habit of not needing a tablet or not needing electronics. Like, for example, for Gabriella, when she was a baby, we would only put her tablet for, what would you say, like an hour or two, just to watch educational videos like Miss Rachel, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But other than that, she was playing with her toys, she was crawling around, she was doing her own thing. And especially around like closer to bedtime, that's usually when we like to shut off her tablet as well, because the stimulants that a tablet or electronic will give a kid distracts them and keeps their brain awake thinking that it's daytime. So it's harder for them to go to sleep. So I would probably say having like a schedule for when is okay to have like electronic time. For example, maybe for like a younger kid, an older kid, having like a time, okay, like you come home from school, you do your homework, you have dinner, then you can have like an hour or two of electronics, then, get ready for bed. That's probably what I would say is the best thing.
I also would like to add that growing up, depending on, I remember there was times that not every parent has the same situation. With that being said, not every family has the same like economy or environment in their house.
Yeah.
I remember growing up, my dad and my mom always made sure that I had the nicest shoes or something like that. So when I would go to like places, I would not be on the computer, right? As much. My parents and that was one of the things that my parents would like really like strict on PlayStation, because like I was one of those kids that would sneak with the PlayStation 2 at the time, and would like want to play for like the whole night. Like I still kind of do some here and there, because it gives me nostalgic of like, is that the word?
Yeah, nostalgia.
Yeah, nostalgia.
Yeah.
Of how I used to do it back then. But that was the thing. Like, if you be good, if you are a friendly person, if you behave, then they would reward me with like an hour or two of like playing with my video games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that's how I was raised. Pretty much at the time. Like, and then I would also be like coming in with like, you know, like nice clothes. At the time I wasn't like expecting it, but like it kind of like, oh, this is the reward I get for doing nice things. So like rewarding your child, if you can, add to that situation, if that makes sense. Like
like rewarding them, like let's say they're into
music, arts, going out, you know?
Yeah, like if they're into, for example, arts, and they get like A's on the report card, get them like an art kit or something like that. Like reward them in something that helps with their passions. As
well, there's also some stuff that I was really quiet kid at the beginning, so my mom and my dad always tried to get me into stuff that I was good at, which was sports, especially soccer. So that's how they would manage me having to play a skill that I was good at while forcing me to be around other kids, right? Because like I wasn't. If it was my choice, I was preferring to be by myself.
Yeah.
So.
You're very introverted.
Yeah, at that time, I was so introverted that it came to like, people thought I was like some people would be like, "Are you okay?" Like, you know, like that kind of introverted.
Yeah.
So it was like pretty much the good old days, and yeah. But if you guys have any other questions about it, we would love to give you more advice on the best of our abilities and what we grew up and how you guys want. Just ask us anytime, DM us, or put it in the comments, or, you know, we'll discuss it. As you know, this is a channel of Discussions with Yiangie, so we'd love to discuss it with anybody.
Yeah, or if you guys have any other tips that can help other families who are struggling with, you know, what we mentioned, leave them down below as well, or DM us. We can post them either on our stories, we can mention them in our next episodes, so definitely go ahead and do that as well.
Okay, so the first topic that we just talked about was about family, and that was not similar to but this one, the second topic, is something that, since we're both Latinos, we grew up as in a Latino household. We grew up with Latino rules. We grew up with the good old times and the
bad times.
Yeah, yeah. So, but that was in Canada. What would you think, putting yourself in? I think I wrote down here on the notes Guatemala, but it could be Mexico. It could be Guatemala. You know, stuff like that. Whatever, but you said that you feel more Guatemalan.
Yeah, I feel more Guatemalan first because I grew up with my grandmother who is Guatemalan. I was traveling between the ages of 16 and 18 to Guatemala like multiple times a year, so that's why I usually consider myself more Guatemalan than a Mexican. I know I do have Mexican roots. I've only been to Mexico one time. So I don't think I'd be able to answer this question in the Mexican perspective simply because of that.
Yeah.
So I would probably answer this as, you know, Guatemala. Now, I was born in Canada. I grew up in Canada. But
so the question is, sorry to cut you out there, but so to briefly explain it better, the question, how do you think you would be your life if you weren't born in Canada and you were born strictly in Guatemala? Like Like, what do you see yourself?
From what I remember, now times could completely change since the last time I was like, I think 17, 18 the last time I went to Guatemala.
Yeah.
I'm now 26 now, almost 27, so it's almost been 10 years
Yeah.
since I've been to Guatemala. So, I mean, life could definitely be different there now. My life, I feel like, would be completely different. I don't think I'd be doing entertainment as much, you know, like Instagram, TikTok, podcasting, YouTube as much.
Yeah.
Because in Guatemala, I know your studies always come first. I'm pretty sure it's like that in Peru too.
Yes.
Kids at like 19 are already graduated from like college or university with a degree and going into their professions, yeah, at like 19, 20. So that would be completely different than here. Like here, I did not go to any post-secondary school. I did not go to college. I didn't go to university. I took some academic classes for, you know, singing and stuff like that, but I feel like that would be the main difference from here and there. My family, like if we're going traditional Guatemalan, like culture, food, my family was never like that. They grew up in like the capital city.
Mm-hmm.
And there was already like a lot of restaurants. Like my family's used to eating like Domino's, KFC, like that stuff. So we weren't traditional in that way. So I don't think that part would be different. The only thing probably more like beans and rice and stuff like that.
Yeah. Would you be as fast food, I guess, like in Canada? Like there's a lot of fast food in Canada. You think you would still eat obviously there is the same amount, but like you think that homemade meals would be more applicable to your life more than they are here, or you think?
Well, I mean, here, even like before we got together, I wasn't too much eating fast food, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would like make my own food.
Yeah.
So I don't think that would.
So you don't think
different.
the fast food culture has got into your lifestyle? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, not really. Because even now, we don't eat as much fast food.
No.
So we probably have it maybe like special occasions or, you know.
Yeah.
So we don't usually eat fast food too much. We're mostly cooking, so I don't feel like that would affect too much. But I feel like in Guatemala, at least, the soda intake is a lot more than what we drink here.
Yeah.
Like at least us,
yeah.
You know, you and I. Like in Guatemala, I know, for my family at least, we would have like a 2-liter bottle of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
At lunch and at dinner, and we would go through like 2 or 3 of those. Not like just me, obviously, like the whole family, but like that is something you had to have.
Yeah. And what about like how many meals? Like, was there like the morning like breakfast, the breakfast, the post breakfast, and then there was like snacks, and then there was lunch, like 5 meals and stuff, like before lunch and stuff like that in your family household?
Not really. Like in my household, it was just like technically like the 3 standards. So there was the breakfast. You would have like rice, beans, eggs, plátanos fritos, so plantains.
Yeah.
Tortillas, because you always had to have tortillas, or like French bread.
Yeah.
Like the mini rolls. They're so delicious.
Yeah.
And coffee.
Yeah. For me, in Peru, it was like, even when we went on vacation, so like my parents, when we went on vacation when I was young, it was like we were living there. You know, you get what I'm saying? It wasn't a vacation because we were surrounded with families, so we were Peruvians in Peru. It wasn't, oh, we're here as Canadians. No, my mom and my dad made sure that me and my brother kind of grew up with that, you know? Even though they couldn't handle it as much as, I remember there was so much stuff that our uncles, like my mom's side, my uncles, would invite us so many here, there, here, so much food that like
Yeah.
in that sense, like eating more, not like eating unhealthy, like over here. That's a different discussion.
Yeah.
But so I remember you wake up and then you would eat your breakfast. You go out another, say, an hour and a half and 2 hours max, you would eat something. Then you
Like
would
a snack or like an actual meal?
like a mid meal.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And then you would go, and if there was like a sandwich spot, you would eat a sandwich spot. And then you would eat another hour, you would eat your lunch. So that was like 4 meals right there. And like
Dang.
before, like, you know?
Like before noon.
Yeah. And
Or
not
before
even
evening.
including ceviche, because ceviche is like something like you have to have before. At the time, it was before 5 to 2. 2 p.m. was the best time to have like ceviche because it's fresh
Freshly cut,
and
yeah.
the sun is still like it was like the saying was you have to have ceviche for all my ceviche people. You have to have ceviche before the sun goes
Sets.
down, you know.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, and then for my family, I think that I would personally, like when I was younger, I remember I was so fanatic of Peru. Like I fell in love the moment
You went back?
I went back when I was like probably, what was I? Because I came here when I was 6. I was probably 11, 12 almost, because it was 5 years after.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Yeah.
And then I went there until I was practically 16, 17. So, and I didn't miss a year. And the last year that I went by myself, I went twice. Right? So, no, wait. I went twice. I went once by myself and once with my family. So it was twice a year.
Yeah.
So, you know?
Yeah.
So that was like, for me, I remember all the cervezas and all like the partying and all like the uncles and the music and the culture and everything. I feel like I would have probably from a young, I don't think I would have been so introverted as much as I am here, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because here I feel like people usually keep to themselves. In Latin American countries, we're more like, talk to every neighbor you have, like say hi, good afternoon, good morning, whatever, like you know your neighbors. Like I remember when I went to Guatemala and we were staying at my great grandma's house, everyone literally knew everyone.
Yeah.
And everyone knew who I was. I had no idea who they were.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was like the first time I went, they're like, oh, you're so and so's kid, you're so and so's grandkid. And I'm like, yeah. And then by the end, like by the time I left, I was friends with like all the kids in the neighborhood.
One of the biggest remember like things that I remember to this day was my grandparents' birthday that my parents surprised them with. I think it was like I gotta say it was the third or fourth time that we went, because I was still young, but I wasn't
Young.
I wasn't young or still at that age where I can like drink too like in front of everybody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for that, I would say probably the amount of family members that I met at that party, where your tia, your abuelo, your bisabuelo, your know, like your uncle, aunt. I was like, how many? Like, this is related to this person, and this is related, and I get it. We all have them here too, but as a Latino like community, like there is a different level. I feel like with my lifestyle, that if I would have gone over there, would have been dramatically like.
Yeah, I feel like here, like for family gatherings or like, you know, people are more used to making some type of excuse not to go, or you know, they're busy with work. I feel like in those countries, whether they're, you know, busy or not, they're still going to show up.
Yeah.
Unless it's like some emergency, some like life or death situation where they're not making it.
And I remember, sorry, if I cut you off there, but
I was done.
I remember when I went with my dad, even like even when I was with my family, just like there in Peru, I remember all the times like my cousins that weren't like first cousins, they were like second or like friend cousins of like supposedly best friends that grew up with my dad or my mom, and their uncle or aunt, and they're my cousins in some way, some form, and they're like, oh, nice shoes, or like, let's go, like, let's take them to eat, or let's go here, or let's go to the beach, or let's shop for them or something. And I remember all that stuff, and it would like, I don't think, to be honest, if I was in Peru, I think my mom and my dad would be okay, but I don't think we would have been, because the topic here is how do you think your life would have been. I don't think it would have been so much like, you know, like the dramatic lifestyle that I had, especially when I was young. I think I would have been just normal. Especially, I noticed that when I was with my friends, my personal friends in Peru, or my cousins' friends, the speed of life that they had was like
fast.
Like I was not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Especially at the time, because like obviously now you know why.
Yeah. Compared
to in Peru, where like everything's just like
fast paced.
What about music? What do you think? Well, before we talk about music, I wanted to say, would you think you would pursue actressing, or you think you would pursue your your acting, like your like that side of your life that you like so much that you pursue now? Guys, we have to shout it out because Angie is taking some acting classes, and she was with her professor in her class. So shout outs to my girl, my wife.
Thank you.
And that's many. We did our first audition.
Yes.
So even if she doesn't get it, that's a milestone for right there, because she's been talking about wanting to do it. But guys, it's just being a parent and doing social media and doing businesses and doing moving and just day-to-day life with everything is just so like, it doesn't seem like, oh, we'll have time. No. It's like,
even though I should say recording for YouTube, that has definitely helped with acting, because you're so like, we're already talking to the camera, talking to you guys, that it's like you don't think about like, oh my gosh, I'm talking in front of a camera, you know? It kind of gets rid of those nerves.
Exactly.
So that definitely helps. So you guys helped me too, so shout outs to you guys.
Guys, big props to you guys, and thank you all so much for the support and the listen of us yapping for like 20 to an hour. I guess we can do the last question, but I kind of like, I think for what would you say, what family would you get along with more, your father's side or your mother's side?
Well,
and we're talking about their families, right? We're not just talking about your dad or your mom in general.
Well, I would probably have to say my father's side, simply because the fact that I grew up with them. I didn't really grow up much or hang out much with my mother's side of the family, except for my older sister, which we get along with like perfectly fine. But if we're talking like family wise, like meeting aunts, uncles, cousins, like distant cousins like that, I'd probably say my father's side, just because I've actually met them and spent time with them.
And for me, it's kind of like tricky, because like
you've hung out with both of them.
I've hung up with both of them, but I feel like in some way, some form, like there's some people like that I like have like real strong connections, like my uncles, obviously my grandma Mama China, my uncle Alex, my primas, my cousins, from my mom's side, like that's a strong, like, oh, my uncle Hugo too, I can't forget about him, you know.
Is that the one that's into like the superheroes and
stuff?
Yeah.
So these people, I like, yeah, like, like those are my in my mom's side, but I also have like my grandpa and my grandma from my dad's side, and some of like
Your cousins.
my cousins, especially my dad's grandpa, uncle, I would say in English, como tío, abuelo, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Which was my I think I forget what they were from one of my like growing up, how you have to choose like god something.
Godparents?
I think they were my godparents. I could be wrong, but yeah.
So you would say it's like a half and half.
Yeah, and he was like, in the one that I'm talking about, he was like the one that I had a bond with about Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, okay.
So like I was Goku, he was Gohan and stuff like that. So like that was like I was more used to, comfortable wise, I would say my mom's. More an image, I think my dad's. If that makes sense. It was a little bit like just turn up the notch of like myself a little bit. So if I had to choose one, I think I would have to go with my mom's side, even though I love my dad's side too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the last topic, guys. So we made it to our last segment
of Am I the A-hole?
So you want to switch spots, or you good? Or you want me to read this?
You can read it, sure.
All right.
Yan is doing this segment today, guys.
All right, so it says...
This is a short one.
All right, so it says, now that we split, why should I keep paying for her phone? AITA question mark. Bought a phone on a plan for my girlfriend. We separated, and I either wanted it back, or she pays for the remaining contract. Her own phone was dying. She had no money, so she got a new one as a present for her birthday, along with many other gifts. It's fair to say that I overextended what I wanted to get to keep her happy. This phone had 2 years left on a plan. She walked from our relationship. We both made mistakes, but she needs her own time, quotation marks. I haven't heard from her in 2 months, apart from a cordial yes / no, and one other very recent response. I'm happy for her to keep the phone and take on the remaining repayments, or swipe with my older phone, or give it back. She said I'm an a-hole and it was a gift. That's the extra money I spent. This is my problem. I don't want us back. I want nothing to do with her. So guys, what do you think, babe?
This one is a tough one, because one, he did give it to her as a gift. But two, we don't really know the reason why they split. They said that they both made mistakes, so we don't know what mistake it was that made her leave or made them split. But I'm gonna say what he proposed to her is fair. Like, she can either take on the payments and have the phone as her phone, swap it with his older phone. I mean, if he's offering it to her, it's because it works just fine, or give it back. I think that's fair. I don't think that he's being an a-hole, as like he's not saying give it back to me or else. He's giving her options. So I would probably say that he's not the a-hole here.
Okay. So from my perspective, I think that, one, yes, it is a gift, but two, you are an adult, and since that relationship, just like that relationship is over, just because you guys are over, that is your phone. It isn't, like, the plan was, the gift was the phone. right?
Yeah.
The plan is
The plan was extra because he was a boyfriend.
And I feel like if you have money and if you have a job and if you have real responsibility as a young independent woman, I think it's fair that you can take care of your phone, right? Because like, what if he doesn't pay for it? You know what I'm saying?
That is an option, yeah.
What if he, like, does that make him like the a-hole because, you know, he has other expenses and he, you know, like, when you guys are together it's one thing, it's a different thing when you guys are separate because you guys are no longer seeing each other. And yeah, I feel like I don't think a woman even expects anything like from a man.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, our generation has, like, women have their own money. They just have a partner because they want to have a partner, not because they need one.
Yeah, but I also feel like also in this case, the guy said that he definitely overspent to keep her happy. So this could also be some type of like entitlement type of thing. Like, oh, you got me my phone. You got me all of these gifts. You're not asking for them back. You're asking for the phone back or for me to take on the payments. Why should I do that, you know? But yeah, I don't think the person writing this is an a-hole. He should be entitled to get the phone back or for her to take over the bills.
I feel like if it was a teddy bear, snacks, some shirts, something like memorable, keep it. Cars. When it comes to like money wise of like ongoing, there's a contract or something ongoing that just because the relationship is over, your life is still, you know, like that's yours. So whether he wants to pay it or you have to pay it, it's kind of like the contract is under somebody's name, and unfortunately he got you the phone, so you can do is keep your phone. You want your phone back, you know, like. Yeah.
Plus, that was a nice thing for him to do. He technically didn't have to, because a phone is for her personal use. He was nice enough because she had no money to get her the phone.
And this does not mean that we expect people to like give back their phones or stuff. But like if he's asking for the phone back and he says that he extended like so much money on her.
Yeah.
On that way, he feels like he deserves the phone back.
Yeah.
And he's asked it politely.
Yeah.
Then that's fair enough.
Yeah, everyone is entitled to whatever they want. If this was, you know, someone else's case and he doesn't want the phone back, he's okay with paying the bills, then that's his decision. But in this case, he either wants the phone back so that he can use it himself or give it to a family member or something.
Yeah.
Or she can keep it and take on the payments. That's his decision. It is a valid decision because technically he doesn't owe you paying for your phone bill when you needed some time away from him.
Exactly. You guys are not together anymore.
Yeah.
So, unless you guys are like, I guess like
just taking a break
or like, hold on a second, because just because I say phone bills and money and stuff like that does not mean if you are in like a relationship where there's a child or child support or like family money or stuff like that, or you have to pay some, like the man has to pay the woman some sort of like, if you guys have contract of like a dog or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
It's your responsibility, yes.
Yeah.
But in the phone, it was a gift where there was no entitlement of like, if we break up, you get to keep the phone. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That is not the case. You know what I'm saying? You were in a relationship once and now you're not. Simple as that. And with that being said, guys, so that is it for today. Episode 9. Guys, next episode is episode 10, guys.
10
episodes. Guys, for you guys, it's not a lot. It might not be a lot, but for us, 10 episodes with the amount of effort and love that we do for these episodes, because we don't do these because we want to just throw out episode by episode. We want to give you guys topics to discuss, to learn about us, things that we don't really show in our day-to-day videos. Like, we don't really do that stuff on our YouTube stuff. I don't think as much as we will in the near future, because I think as soon as we move to our own spot, we will be doing that in the States. So pretty much it for today. My name is John.
And I'm Angie.
And this is Discussions with Yiangie. Thank you so much. Make sure you guys rate it on the Audible versions, on Apple Music, on Spotify, everywhere you guys are listening to on your favorite platforms. And if you're on YouTube, you guys make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and comment down below what you guys think of all the segments and where you guys like heritage-wise, background-wise, like how is your lifestyle? If you guys are in a different country, how did you guys were raised differently and stuff like that? We want to know all the good stuff, so comment down below in the comment section.
Or even if you're on the audio version and you want to join the discussion, you can head over to YouTube and comment, or you can send us a DM through Discussions with Yiangie. We will read them. If you're okay with us sharing them, we will share them in a future episode.
And if there's a comment section, you guys already know what to do. Make sure you guys leave a comment and a rate.
Yes.
With that being said,
thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Until then, bye.